Always on this very dot time of 5 p.m. That's we get to Revin. That is a motorsport show, and we are very glad that you're still breathing. And this is our last weekend in the month of March, and we are better way to go. We have a lot to say, and we have a lot to cover in today's show. And actually, we are going to try to be a little bit quick because we need to entertain you and actually educate you at some point, and of course, give you the best. A thrilling moment in the world of motorsport. I'm Frank Kahese. We're going to start with the show, and of course, I have a guest who is, I know many of you guys, rally fans, are so much walking under down the hill to see yourselves attend, and I'm very glad for the team, different teams, Team Gawaye. I know you're making a follow-up, and I know you've had a very hot debate with other guys. Maggie Diarra team, Kim. I may not mention all of you guys, and I always had you complain that, hey, Guy, you always forget to say about our teams. You're the guys who make us there. You, the rally fans, make us really put our heads up, and we are so much honored for your much ardent support you're always giving to the different teams. We get to start off straight away with the Formula One, with now the much highly debatable thing is the qualifying format, which was agitated to be changing this year from the old 2015 format. I remember it was even earlier debated on Sunday morning before the rundown of the action in Marylebone that different teams were all contending. Team bosses were contending on the qualification criterion, and of course, of late they're saying the Formula One qualifying format remains shrouded in confusion after bosses failed to agree on the change of the next race coming in at Bahrain Grand Prix. The team decided the pre-season opening in Australia to ditch the new elimination system that revert to one of that had been entered, and they were agitating to revert to one that was being used in 2015. In the same meetings that have concurrently been happening since Sunday, they have not agreed, and actually it has been ruled out that the possibility of reverting to the 2015 for qualifying format may not work out. And of course, by saying by the outspeaking of the Formula One boss, that is Brendan Exquisiton, he says this will be much open to debatable in the next month, that is before the Bahrain Grand Prix. The new format, remember the new format sees drivers eliminated every 90 seconds throughout the free session of qualifying, and coming the criticism in the Marylebone that was in last weekend. And of course, that is because that has dealt, and actually it may team bosses are arguing, this may empty the track for the last 4 minutes of the last top 8 shootout as teams save their tires rather to do another lap. Well, this is still hotly debatable in amongst teams at the Formula One, and we look forward to seeing, of course, in one of few the things. Instead, of course, after the Saturday, mid this week, that Thursday, the F1 Commission finally met on Thursday, and of course, they had the following things and terms to give the team runners, saying, instead of the teams were presented with 2 options: to retain the rules used in Marylebone that proved to be so unpopular, or stick to the elimination format for the first 2 sessions of the qualifying, but with an extra minute duration, followed by the final qualification session run out as had been in 2015. Way off that, the same way we saw how fatal it might happen to the Ferrari team driver, actually the McLaren driver, that's Fernando Alonso. We saw the kind of the fatal accident that happened. He actually bumped into the rear of one of the new team drivers, that's the team Haas, where he hit the back, the rear tires, and also it has been raised many concerns, saying with the safety at the driver's seat, it may not be a merry-making situation over there, saying with what happened with the accident that happened, it was too close. After hitting the rear of the Haas driver, the Alonso man went off Vade-off-road, nearly close over to the track and hit the off-bank, and then finally he headed on with another barrier that made the car almost it went actually written off. It may not be able, probably he may have another racing in car, but unfortunately, he was very lucky that he escaped unhurt, as you may see in the pictures and videos of him correcting Fernando Alonso. Actually, one of the few things that are outlined that we need to educate you through, that the Federally One car modifications made this year is one of the top canopy of that car is a little bit more safer, as may have seen by some assaulting. Neither did his helmet nor his neck get a twist over the situation, all endurance, and so I could say that is one of the way we could still recommend that the safety counts, let them really restrain themselves from doing any other thing that would jeopardize the safety of the drivers. Away from there, and of course, let's get the clip and see what happened in the Grand Prix in Melbourne and see how the fatal accident happened and how the man, Fernando Alonso, survived. After then, we shall get to see you have a pre-event interview of none other than the earlier leader of the Formula One, lead in almost laps. That's none other than Sebastian Vettel. Lost it off after getting off grip on the track and lost it to the Formula One riders, the 1-2 winners. That is Nico Rosberg and, of course, his teammate, the champion. That's Lewis Hamilton. Let's get the ambience and see how it's all happened in Melbourne. And, of course, come return with the Vettel pre-post event of what he anticipates in 2016 season.
Here comes Rosberg. He's attacking Sebastian Vettel. Into turn 3 we go. Vettel just stays ahead. Fernando Alonso. And you can see Alonso sat by the barrier and getting himself up, walking very gingerly indeed. We've got a safety car, and that's a massive impact. Oh.
Yeah. So it was not a car failure. Oh, that all looks a bit familiar to me, to be honest.
Just, and then it dug in twice into the gravel. What we'll do next, eventually, is get the race underway again.
We'll start behind the safety car, effectively. It's a safety car restart from the pit lane.
Here we go then, racing once again. Sebastian Vettel leading the race. Down the main straight we go. And Sebastian Vettel ahead then of Nico Rosberg and Kimi Raikkonen. Daniel Ricciardo is the driver in 4th place, but he has already got Max Verstappen behind him. Hamilton is looking at Carlos Sainz. Has got to cover himself as Sainz, and he's done well there. Behind them comes Felipe Massa, Roman Grosjean and Nico Hulkenberg.
Something happened, broke something.
Okay, understood, Kimi, understood. Pull off where it's safe.
Dave Greenwood is race engineer with a tint of disappointment.
Fire in the airbox, look.
Yeah,
Fire in the
there
airbox.
is. The engine, something has gone with the engine. Ted, you're down there?
Yeah, really nasty smoking. Kimi's just started. There's a little fire coming out of the top of the airbox. Come on, someone get with the extinguisher. Well done, Australian marshals. Good work. Ferrari were very slow with any of their extinguishers. Now they're just pouring extinguishment into the airbox.
Oh, they've got a problem at the rear, a problem at the front, I should say. That was a slow stop. To compound the problem, that was a slow stop. And he's going down the inside as Lewis Hamilton, and he makes it into the apex and takes 2nd place, and that was as comfortable as Lewis Hamilton could have wished. And here comes Carlos Sainz on DRS, and down into turn 1, Sainz has finally got past Jolyon Palmer, and that's an overtake that's been waiting for a while. And Max Verstappen now seizes the moment, sizes up Jolyon Palmer, and can he get past the Renault? Can he get into the corner? Yes, just.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's
very
gone.
wide.
Sebastian Vettel has debris down there, and he's gone deep into the corner. The headlines, the cheers and the applause, they're all going to go to Nico Rosberg today. His dad won this race, the Australian Grand Prix in '85. In 2016, Nico Rosberg wins the Australian Grand Prix. But it's a win for Nico Rosberg.
Well, it's a good beginning for Team Mercedes. That's, of course, they took the first 2 position 1-2. That's Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Of course, the man who had taken up the lead in all the most laps, Sebastian Vettel, you saw how he went off the track and came back when he had already lost it to the first two running drivers. Away from there, we get into the post-interview of course, that's Sebastian Vettel, the man himself. Before the event happening, he gave us a linking through of what he expects as Ferrari team, what they're expecting ahead of the coming races ahead of them, with the contrast competition, with the close competition with none other than other team. They're citing their point or pointing their fingers at Mercedes. Let's get the man speak, and of course we get straight away to WRC and get to let you know what's happening ahead of the Rally of Argentina and the match changes that have been done in the route and what awaits the drivers in the coming weekend. That is the first weekend in April.
Seb, I think you've got a lot of fans out there feeling for you today. How much is this a lost victory, potentially?
Well, I enjoyed it a lot today. I was racing as hard as I could. Obviously, the red flag, you can argue, didn't help us. But then again, you know, that's what racing is. Sometimes it plays into your favor. Other times it doesn't. In the end, I was trying to give everything I had. Yeah, we thought at the time that it was the right thing to do, and now we need to have a look and see whether we could have done something better or smarter. But all in all, I think the good news is that we were a lot closer today in qualifying. The car was very strong all the way. Unfortunately, we didn't finish with both cars. So mixed feelings. Last year was different. Obviously, we came out of a difficult season for both myself and the team. This year, the expectations naturally were higher, but I think the good news is that we are a lot closer on Sundays, and Sundays when it matters.
Looking at it objectively, you could argue that it wasn't you guys were closer to Mercedes. You were actually a little bit ahead of them on track. Lewis has said if you guys had started that second bit on the mediums, no way would they have been able to challenge you. How good does that make you feel that you do have this pace this season?
We know that the car is good in the race. We know that we're lacking a bit in qualifying. So obviously that's good news because, as I said, it matters on Sunday, not so much on Saturday. So anyways, we want to be the favorites. We want to be the ones to beat, and we don't want to be lucky and then end up maybe in the right spot. We want to earn that spot, and there's a lot of work ahead of us. Right now we are not the favorites, so there's a lot of work, but equally I think big thanks to the team. I think things are coming together bit by bit, and we are on the right track.
It's early in the championship, I know that, and not the result that you wanted today, but the pace is there. The championship's on, isn't it?
Well, definitely. This is only round one, so I've always had the philosophy that race one, even until the summer break, you don't really think about the championship. You try to do your best, you race flat out. That's what I love, that's what I'm here for, and everything else comes naturally. So we're here to race, we're here to, here to win. That's what we try to do, and then very quickly you find out, at least when you ask the right or the wrong questions, whether we are in a good shape or not.
Well, that's a pick in by, of course, the former world champion Sebastian Vettel, telling us what's awaiting them as a team of Ferrari. Of that, we go straight to WRC. Hayden Paddon is going to make a debut of his new car in the Rally of New Zealand. That is his home country. Of course, the Hayden Paddon racing star is, of course, the rally. He's to come next month in the new car with the new formed Hyundai New Zealand rally team that is going to be running with the Hayden Paddon getting to test his skills in the new i20 car. Remember, Paddon is now lying fifth in the WRC standing after 3 rounds, and he will be competing at Ortega in the April. Actually, that's the next rally in Argentina on 8th to 10th April. With historical take-up, of course, we shall be down in Cavalry as these guys will be racing in their 4th round of the WRC. And he will also tackle the international rally of Guy, that is in April 29th to 1st May, the week after the South American event. That is the Rally of Argentina. Alongside the regular co-driver, that's John Conrad. Paddon will debut the i20 AP4 car in the Rally of New Zealand. And of course, we are looking forward to seeing him of future. Hayden Paddon was one of the wonder drivers who were to almost had their hands on the podium finish in the last ended rally, in the Rally of Mexico. But unfortunately, he didn't make it to last after getting mechanical glimpses that ruled him off the pace, letting it go to the man. Of course, that's none other than the man. That's Yari Rativar, the Finn guy, who went flying in the spectacular flyover in the rally that ended. Of course, away from there, the Vatanen support to the Dimiaka, I beg your pardon, Vatanen is support to the Marquis Theatre Trophy. One of them identifying, why we're identifying with this is because our neighbors, Kenya, are having a rally star racing in the DMARC Fiesta Trophy. That is, of course, they're going to be racing in 5 rounds of the WRC. And, of course, in history, the Vatanen family, in the 18, the former world champion, believes it's a perfect place for young drivers to get their first test of the WRC before making their steps up into the official WRC support series. And, of course, I remember I told you Kenya is having a representative going to be racing in 5 rounds of the WRC. And we hope, we pray that will they successfully make it? You never know. We may have another breed coming in. Another chance with Uganda getting our own. Remember, we had our own Moses Matov racing alongside the Pirelli, under the Pirelli Youngster Championship, racing alongside Peter Hossi. But we hope we get another Ugandan breaking into the world ranks. Away from there, of course, there have been new changes in the Rally of Argentina. So as in other rallies, that's in the Rally of Finland, they are saying there are many changes that are coming underway, and the organizer of the next Rally Finland are the list to announce the details of their 2016 event, and including 43% new route and the number of short and sharp jab, they call them sharp jab in court, sharp jab stages to break the extended rise on sections. The finish round will be the 8th of the round of the WRC and will run on 28th to 21st of July in the city of Jericho. Well, we can go above that. We need to save time for our local guests, and we get to discuss motorsport locally. Many more match awaits you on the menu for the local round. Let's get into the break. Come back with the local bit of it. Don't go away. We have much awaits you. That is motocross round, second round in Busika. I talk about the Gorillas in the Mist that is going to be running in Cavalli. And of course, we talk more of the different riders preparing ahead of the season. That is the motocross season and the championship coming into. Don't go away. WBS TV is where quality matters.